So we're back with Karen, who is 43 years old, and Karen is involved with a much younger man named Jamie, and she outlined for us how this relationship started, what it was like, and unfortunately how he ended it just prior to us doing this podcast. And, my heart goes out to you, Karen, and hopefully the listeners' hearts as well, because it's so painful to hear from a woman who just wanted to give and receive love from a man and it be somewhat reciprocal, and at least for you to feel like you were valued and appreciated during the time you were with him. And unfortunately, this didn't happen because of the way it started. And this is a very important point for anyone who is like, for example, at a confluence of things like what happened for you. You said that you were married for 11 years or so, Karen?
Yes, 11 years.
How long were you involved with your ex-husband prior to being married?
6 months.
Okay, so it was a relatively short time, and then you had a long-term marriage.
Correct.
When a marriage like that breaks up, no matter even if you wanted the divorce, Karen, it is a very difficult and emotionally confusing time. What did you feel during that time you were going through the divorce when Jamie came along and was courting you in this way of the phone calls and so forth? Because that was his way of doing it.
I guess a little excited, that a younger guy, was looking at me that way, because at that moment I wasn't looking for anyone or trying to be involved with anyone. I just was trying to, get in shape, and, I was trying to focus on my business and, going through, the separation from my husband. And so when it came along, I remember really like having to convince myself to even give it a try. And I was just like, I had standards at the time, like, no, I'm not going to go there. He's too young and, maybe not mature enough. I had all these reservations, but I actually convinced myself to just give it a try. You've been married for 11 years. You hadn't had anyone. Just do something different. Just give it a try. So it was a little exciting. It felt good. I felt like, was going to get the attention. I also thought I was going to get the affection that, I was looking for, coming from a younger guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was exciting. It felt good. If, when you feel like somebody is, pursuing you or interested in, in you, or, just something casual at the time.
You felt flattered, I'm sure, as well.
Correct.
Sure. So when he initially made the calls, you initially said, no, that's really not for me?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
And he kept calling?
Yes.
And just for our own edification, did you know that the calls were his way of achieving your time and attention and possibly getting what it was that he was looking for?
Yes, and I guess in a way naive, a little bit, no, yes and no.
it might have been confusing, right? Because he was presenting as somebody who really wanted to talk to you.
Right.
And I am sure that you talked about all manner of things, including perhaps your husband in marriage and his girlfriend.
A little bit, correct.
Mm-hmm. So you said that you talked to him then, and he was, I assume, in these phone calls, you said sometimes an hour and a half, as much as that, when he would call. Right away, that is regardless of any type of relationship, that's a no-no. And why is it a no-no? Because the man is getting your good counsel, time, and attention, and you are at risk for not getting anything from it on one hand, all the way to the other side of the scale, and the other hand of actually just being used for your good female energy and counsel. So we don't recommend it. We don't do it. Unless you and your husband are apart, or you and your fiancé are apart, don't spend any more moments on the phone with a man than 20 tops. It doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form. Get his real interest for something real. There are always exceptions to the rule, but that is a very, very good rule of thumb for any woman. So
I had no idea.
Yeah. He knew you were a good possibility and mark for him simply because you gave him that kind of time. Now, you said that he said he was not looking for anything serious. And you had some talk about that. In other words, you said, well, I told him that might be okay, but I want something connected. Is that pretty much, does that sum it up?
Correct.
So here's how you can know the male mind. What happened, and you've heard me talk about this likely, that from the get-go, he was putting you in what I call the second category, and that's Freud's Madonna-whore dichotomy, now called Freud's Madonna-whore dichotomy. It was initially Freud's Madonna-whore complex. And men do this. Men put women in one of two categories because it's very black and white for them. There are women you marry. They are in the first category, Madonna, meaning Mother Mary Madonna, not Madonna the singer. And girls to just have fun with and have sex with, whom they will never consider being in a real relationship with. And that comes in nanoseconds for the man in the male brain, and then the man seeks to have support for his reptilian brain assumption of which category you are in. So, for example, when you first met him, maybe there was a little spark. Certainly for him there was, when you exchanged the keys or what have you. Did you feel it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So he was initially very attracted, and you felt that little spark. So that for him can go either way. But because of the age difference, now, sometimes it could be that he gets the age right and he assumes you're 43, or maybe you look quite a bit younger. He doesn't know. So he in this case, because there's that spark and he doesn't know, and nothing has been said, you give him your business card, not right then with the keys. Is that correct? You gave it to him later?
Correct.
So he didn't know then, but he was intrigued. There was this spark. And later, when he saw you at the gym, did you go up to him? Did he go up to you? How did it come about that you gave him your business card?
We both were outside, and I was getting ready to go to my car. And, again, I was in the business mindset of, okay, this guy looks like he may be a good, fit for the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and got a card, and I just, went up to him like I normally do anybody that I feel is a prospect. And I just did my business approach, and that's how we exchanged, and I gave him my business card.
Was this was not the same day of the car key exchange? This was a different time at the gym?
This was a different time.
Excellent. Okay. So again, he may not have assumed it was anything other than you giving him the business card. We don't know. But then early on, in like 30 minutes, he texts you. And do you remember what was in that text?
Yes. He asked me, was I single?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, are you single?
And
I said, who wants to know?
Okay. So, and this exchange, when he texted you that, are you single? How soon did you reply to that text?
At that time, I waited a few. I was saying about 10, 15 minutes because I was stunned. I was just looking like, he said, this is who, he said, this is Jamie. And I was wondering if you were single. Because I had just given him my card, and I was just kind of stunned. And I was confused also because I guess didn't want to flatter myself. And I was just like, well, who wants to know? I thought maybe he was asking for somebody else, seriously.
Okay. So when I talk to anyone, I give them the really high-level responses that are, would be the best possible responses. Because that's the way we kind of learn. And when we shoot for those kinds of responses, we can certainly end up having better responses. And you will grow from this, from hearing it, and any woman that is listening to it, for any type of interaction with a man who is asking something like that. So your response was another question. And if you watch on my YouTube, you will see my number one texting tip is we don't answer any man's text with a question. And we strive for 100% of the time with that, so that we can certainly get to the 80% of the time. Because if we reach 80%, the other 20% we don't do, it won't much matter. However, especially this was your first interaction with him, because how he viewed that response from you was actually as a flirt back to him. Now, you may not have meant it like that, but it gave him an opening. So here's what would have been much better to have answered, so that you set the tone and you set yourself in the first category of relationship material. Woman to be revered, respected, and possibly be in a relationship with a man for more than just sex. And that would be after, again, good that you waited 15 minutes at least, if not more. Because all the time he's waiting, he's wondering. And that's, of course, the best possible thing we can do to help a man have any interest in us for more, is to make him wonder. Ergo, the name of this podcast. So, if you had made a statement, again, not a question, Jamie, I gave you my business card as a businesswoman because whenever I meet someone new, I am prospecting for my business as an insurance agent. If you have any insurance needs that you would like to be fulfilled, I hope you will let me know, and I would be glad to help you. You see, statement.
I like it.
What you're doing there is you're setting yourself as, I am not going to get into some flirtation with you. I'm showing myself as a high-value woman to be respected, because here's the deal. That's what you did. That's what you were thinking. You weren't thinking anything else when you gave him that card. Now, you might have been attracted to him, right? But you know he was much younger, and you weren't doing that as a way to get him to interact with you, correct?
Correct.
So it's also the truth. So if you did that, he will likely do one of two things, or three things even. One, say, oh, she's not going to play. I won't answer her. They'll just ignore it. That's one way. Second, he's going to feel somewhat embarrassed, or at least give you the answer, oh, I understand that. I don't have any needs at this time, but I'll keep you in mind. Just to be nice, and then he'll go on his way. Or third, if he has interest beyond the business, that's fine. He'll let you know, but you will have shown him, no, you respect me first, and then we see. So he may have answered something a la, oh, I'm sure you were. I'm sorry. I just, find you very attractive, and I was wondering if you're single. He may say something like that. Again, whenever a man does that, we don't ask them who wants to know. We know that he wants to know. And here's how we know he wants to know. Almost without exception, men are not matchmakers, because we're all puppies to them, and they love us all. And whether you're 18 and he's 58 or 28, he's asking because he wants to know. We can just automatically assume, and we'll almost always be right with that assumption, that it's him. You could say, thank you, I'm flattered, and that's it. Again, statement. What's going to happen with that? He's going to wonder, okay, and maybe even ask if he can contact you. In other words, you see, we set the tone, and we set the bar so that at each interaction, he has to jump over the bar. And what happened was, by your taking these calls, you assume that if I tell him I want connection, I might be interested in doing something like this, but I want connection. he is a male. In the moment, all he can see is the sex part. And because men don't relate via verbalization, he'll say yes to it. His idea of connection and yours are completely different things. And by virtue of you saying, I'm into this, he automatically puts you in second category. And here's how I know he puts you in that category. Because how a man views it in black and white, meaning good girl or girl to have fun with, they don't understand women are all on a scale of everything. You knew he had a girlfriend. What does, for a man, a woman who is wife, mother material do when she hears a man has a live-in girlfriend?
Automatically, no.
Exactly. Yes.
And I compromised because at the time that we were conversing, he was saying that they were on the verge of, breaking up, that he, it was over. And why I chose to go along with that, I don't know. But any other time, any woman, and I would, like, no, automatically. But I compromised my values to make it justifiable that, okay, he said that him and his girlfriend are not on good terms. He's ready, basically the relationship was ending.
Mm-hmm. So here's the answer whenever a man says, my wife and I are just separated, or a man says, yeah, my girlfriend and I are on the outs, even if he doesn't live with her or whatever it is. There's only one answer. So, Joe, when you find yourself divorced, or when you've completely and totally broken up with your girlfriend, and 6 months or a year have gone by, feel free to get in touch with me then. Until then, please, I don't wish to be in contact. What does that immediately do? The man goes, wow. Because then you are the Steph Curry to his LeBron James. You are worthy. You are worthy in all ways. And this is what is so different from men than women. Women are understanding. We don't deal in black and white like that. We understand the gamut of emotions. Because for a woman, here's the situation. You, having been separated as a woman, you have probably emotionally and in all ways been out of your marriage emotionally for a very long time. And if you meet a man that you like, and you see him and you start to have sex with him, you will love him possibly and start to bond with him through the time and sex. And it doesn't matter whether you've been separated 2 weeks, 2 years, 20 years. It doesn't matter. That's what happens to us as women. And we can easily be all in and completely committed to a man at any amount of time. A man can absolutely not, because he does not bond through time and sex, nor does he commit through time and sex. In only one way does he commit, and that is through making a decision. And I dare say the decision will be made largely from A, his timing, whether or not he's a consumer or buyer, and B, whether or not he's put you in the first category to be worthy of the commitment. No matter how much you reiterate, this is what I need or want, whatever you're doing certainly nullifies that. And I always say, and this is a very important saying to keep in your mind, no matter what you are saying, if you are staying you are okaying whatever is going on?
I was a little confused because I took the test and it was mixed, and I'm not sure if that was if I gauged it correctly, because I hear what you're saying, that I was put in the first category, so I mean second, and you could be put in the second and still have a mixed player. I don't know, consumer.
A mixed messages man? Well, sure you can.
Uh-huh.
Because he's going to do, it's not that he didn't like you. He did. He does. And he likes having sex with you. And so he's going to do and say things that keep him having sex with you. So you feel like you're getting mixed messages from him. It's probably more that he was more towards a high-level ultimate consumer and a low-level mixed messages man. Because, yes, you did get mixed messages. Things like the text every morning. That's a real mixed message kind of thing.
Also, I was mixed, with him saying that, okay, he's exclusive, sexually, just me and him. He's not sleeping with anybody else since the ex had, moved out.
Aha. Okay. Here's what happened there. I believe him. Do you believe him that he was at that time?
I did, but I was confused when I saw the girl coming out the apartment. That's what, made me address something. Yeah.
Okay. But that was in December that he said he was exclusive, correct?
Let's see. December, no, this was this year. In January, when I tried to break things off and said, let's just call things off. This was like in January.
Okay.
Where he said that, he just was being exclusive with me, yes.
All right. So he had broken things off with a girlfriend. The girlfriend had moved out. And in January, he said he was exclusive. I believe him. Here's what happened, which happens with day to day. It's different for a young man who's kind of hot to trot. He met someone. In those weeks, what have you, he met someone, ergo the change. He met a younger woman, perhaps, or someone he wanted to pursue, and because you were in second category, he doesn't give it a second thought. He wasn't true to his word. In that moment when he said it, yes, you were exclusive, meaning he wasn't having sex with anyone else. But here's another lesson for anyone listening. When a man says you're exclusive, he means it right then and there. You have to know, does that mean he's not pursuing other relationships? That's a very sticky thing, because a man can say, yes, I'm sexually exclusive with you while I'm pursuing other women, and when I find one that I'm going to be with, I'll just break it off with you. That's a harsh reality. And we have to know it. So we have to be very careful of not only our hearts, but our health. We have to also trust that the man will tell us, so that for health reasons, especially if we're having unprotected sex, which I don't recommend outside of a completely committed relationship these days, that he's going to tell you before he has sex with that someone else. Likely he won't tell you before, but you hope that he'll tell you right after, so that before you have sex with him again.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And that's why I guess I shouldn't have believed him, because he went through the extremes of text messages, sending me photos, trying to explain to me that the girl I saw, it wasn't anybody that he was sleeping with, that he was just sleeping with me. So we talked about exclusives in January, but this was February when I saw the young lady coming out of his house.
Mm-hmm. Here's the other thing that happened way back. You went through him ghosting you. For 2 months.
Mhm.
Was there any mea culpa on his part, apology, what have you, when you did see him at the gym again? Or did he just act, carefree and wanted, to start up again?
When I did see him again, no, there wasn't any apology. He stated that he was fairly honest. He stated that at the time that he tried to work things out with the girlfriend, and that's why he didn't. I didn't hear from him, but he didn't offer any apology. He just stated that is why, because I did bring it up, like why I hadn't heard from you or whatever, and he said that at that time they were trying to work things out, but I guess it didn't work out. So that's kind of how that alluded, and it just kind of went from there. And like I said, we've been consistent from fall up until today.
So here's what could have happened at that time to set things on a different course, if it's at all possible. And I don't think this is a good bet, I'll be honest with you. However, there is, while there's life, there's hope. But I want to talk about that time he ghosted you, a la what you can also do now, that if there's any scintilla of a chance, you're giving it to yourself, okay? So, for example, he said to you, I was trying to work it out with my girlfriend at that time, I ghosted you. So when he tried to see you, start up with you again, you say, there's no way I can really trust you. It's extremely hurtful to me that you would do something like ghost me. I don't ever want to be disrespected like that. At the very least, you could have said so at the time and wished me the best, but you did not have the cojones to do that. So, all the best to you. And then you've reset the tone. I will not be treated like that, ever. There's real interest on his part. He's going to try. And try hard. If not, he won't. So, if we were to take this now to today, because you're hurting, and I know you're missing him, and it's going to be a loss in your life, because here's what we know about sex, and it must have been really good sex that offers you a lot of endorphins, the feel-good chemical, that you're really going to feel that loss, and it's going to be tough. And my heart goes out to you for that, because I understand how tough that is. But you can also look at this as a real chance to clear your emotional slate and actually get something that's more deserving of you and the lovely woman you are. Because I'm hearing you're just a really kind, honest, straightforward, loving woman.
That's correct. You hit the head on the nail on the head. That is my personality.
Yes, with a lovely,
that is my personality.
A lovely personality, yes. So, he will likely, now we don't know if again he's trying with a girlfriend or trying with this girl it's likely with the girl from around Valentine's Day. Who knows? It could be a different one. We don't know. But likely there's some pretty puppy around. Because if not, you just saw him Sunday, he would keep doing this because it also gives him the feel-good chemicals and he wants to have sex.
Right.
So it's almost assuredly a female that he is interested in pursuing something with. Okay. So there will come a time, maybe when that goes awry, and he's missing you. And he will come back in all manner of ways. Either it will be again when he sees you at the gym, or he texts you. And it's going to be what you do then that helps set the tone of whether you have any minute chance at all. And I tell you that because I don't want to give you false hope where I don't believe it lies. And we started off this podcast by my saying that a younger man, older woman relationship is much more common these days and absolutely can work. But it has to be set up so that the man is putting the woman, no matter her age, in first category, reveres her, respects her, and he is led down the path of complete commitment. That's my GPS program. Because without that, and without us being the mechanic of the relationship, especially with a younger man, it will veer off the road more quickly than if you're texting while driving. So, it's what you do when he comes back, because the likelihood of that is quite high. And here's why I say it's quite high. Because from what happened previously, he believes that he can get you back easily.
Wow.
That he doesn't need to go through a huge apology, that it won't be a lot of machinations and drama and what have you. So he'll try. And this is when you have to show him a brand new Karen who no longer accepts any of that. And this is done in a lovely, ladylike, even alluring way. But it's fool me once, fool me twice, no more. And that makes you Steph Curry to his LeBron James. Because every man thinks in the realm of male-female relationships and sex, he's the LeBron James of that. And you need to be the female equivalent of the Steph Curry, who's just as knowledgeable, plays the game, and shoots baskets just as well.
And that's where I feel like I failed. I feel like I did a bomber, and I didn't even respond to his text. I couldn't respond when he said that. I couldn't say anything.
This is great. What does that do? Because, you see, you have tried to relate to him via verbalization. That almost never works. So the best would be for you to make it clear that you are not angry. And here's why. There's nothing worse for a man than for a woman to be angry at how he behaves when he has behaved absolutely in keeping with what he has said and shown you. So in other words, you were complicit with everything that happened here. This is what keeps us in second category. In other words, because like you said, a woman in first category in a man's eyes, if a man says, I'm involved, I'm married, I'm in a live-in relationship, and then starts calling her, she says, please don't call me anymore. I don't see men. I don't talk to men who are involved with other women. It's disrespectful to the other woman and certainly disrespectful to me. No hard feelings, but please, there's no point in us interacting. All the best to you. That's it. That's worthy opponent stuff, but you're still nice about it. So here's what he will not expect from you, Karen. That you answer, got it, I understand. All the best to you. Because that's going to be like, oh, wow. Now he knows something is different. Not, I gave you the chance I just saw you Sunday, what happened? I gave it nothing at all. You accept it. Because this primes the pump for when he comes back that you have changed. It's like this for the man. We think about it in terms of sports. And like I said, LeBron James. He believes he's LeBron James of everything right now. The world, of women is all manner of B-League players. And he's the big man on the court, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how you can view this as he's believed that you were one of those summer league players that just was thrilled to be playing with him. He's younger, he's hot, he's all manner of things that he thinks he is. And you were in second category and you were complicit and you allowed him to play the games he did, et cetera, et cetera. So he believes you're the equivalent of a summer league player where LeBron is in the NBA and the major leagues. So what you're beginning to show him is that, nope, you're really stepping up your game, so to speak. You're now showing the NBA, oh, maybe you should be, possibly a pick for the Lakers next time around. So that when he does come around again, you're showing him, I'm now at your level. I am in first category, and I don't do this anymore. I live by my word. I'm to be respected. I'm not just to play with. And all the best to you, if that's what you're looking for. I'm not. If he has real feelings for you that can be manifested into something else, it will get him into those feelings. Those actions from you will actually allow him to feel more, because men feel for women through having to achieve them. This is why I say they love through wondering and longing. And what gets them into more of the wonder and longing is having to achieve the woman's time, attention, and affection. It's oxymoronic to us because you were exceedingly nice and kind to him. You gave him all manner of benefits of the doubt.
Yes.
You believed that, okay, I continue with this, and because I've told you that I want more connection, you'll come forward with it. You'll listen to what I've said, and you'll take that to heart, and you'll want to please me, and you'll actually give that as well. No.
Right.
No. Will not happen. Because you didn't set it up that's the first order of business. And it's always the first order of business with women who are in the first category in the male mind. No, you show me that first, and only if you show me with consistency and respect and honor and time and pursuit and all of that, then you will be able to have sex. And by then, he really is connected. It just doesn't work the other way around for men, unfortunately, but it does for us. The more sexual we are with a man, the more we do want his time, attention, and affection. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having the sex that we have with them.
Correct.
Right. That's
Correct.
how we work.
Right. I just have to. It's been hard because I knew it was coming, and I just, you're thinking that, okay, I've been married, I should have known better, I should have did this, but some things I just didn't know. Like I stated earlier, I just should have never compromised my values and my standards, and I shouldn't have pretended that I was okay with just going along with this when I wanted to be real, but at the same time, me being real and stating how I felt, I was also fearing that he wasn't going to go along with the ride. So I pretended that I was okay with, how things were, but let's just meet me halfway,
So. And that's not what a man will ever do. He's going to show you what he's all about from the beginning. If that isn't there, there will be no him meeting you halfway. The only time the man will ever acquiesce to meeting halfway is when there is failure involved for him vis-a-vis public failure of a marriage. That is why at the 11th hour of any possibility of divorce is when a man will finally agree to do something like couples counseling. In other words, the woman will be saying all the way along, this is what's wrong in the relationship. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I need. We're going off the rails here. I'm not happy, blah, blah, blah. And she'll do this for many years in a relationship, in a marriage. And he'll just say yes, and he'll listen to whatever, and he won't do a thing about it. If he's married, because he's made a decision and it's been made public, a la, he's married and he's on that team. When it comes time where she says, well, I'm going to quit the team and I want out, that's when he'll say, okay, I'll do something. I'll go for counseling. I'll go to couples counseling. I'll do something, because he will not want the public failure of divorce. And that's when he will be willing to try. Otherwise, men most generally they are showing you who they are. However, from the beginning, we need to show them exactly who we are, what category we are in, so you can see whether he is at the state of being a consumer or a buyer. This man is in the state of being a consumer for you, because you put yourself in second category. Do you see what I mean? In other words, I don't know if he's ready to be in a real relationship or not with anyone. But when we're in second category, the man will always be just consuming. This is the problem. Because he will not commit to someone in second category. That's the woman just to have fun with. That's how black and white their brains are about it. I can play around with second category, and I love doing that. And I might even love the woman in second category, but I will not marry her. I will not commit to her. I can only commit to a woman who is worthy of that in first category. This is maddening to women, and completely understandable why it is maddening to women. Because there is no category. In other words, it was because of him and the situation that you were doing what you were doing, and you were completely monogamous with him, and you were exclusive with him, and it was only him, and you really wanted a relationship with him.
Correct.
Yeah, there is no category. But men put us in one or the other, and it's really super, super hard to get back to the first one. And what I'm saying here, Karen, for you, is I don't believe in this case there is much of a chance, unless a lot of time goes by and you show him in a very profound way that everything has changed for you. And that takes a lot of work of doing things very differently. Standing your ground in a very nice way. I understand. All the best to you, but that's not for me. I'm not going to ever go back to that. I'm looking for something meaningful in my life. I've been a married woman for, many, many years. I messed up because I didn't understand, but that's not who I am. And then you need to consistently show who you are. And that is shown to the man by vetting him for right action, keeping you in the right, Mrs. Right kind of category. It takes an enormous amount of you steering it, getting it on that track. It's very hard to do. And he has to be, the stars kind of have to align for him with his feelings for you at the right time. And with him being the age he is, we don't know that it's less likely than if he were at an older age.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
And I'm not even sure, yes, and I'm not even sure if he have any feelings for me, not like that, And that was another thing for me as well. Like the whole time, I've never felt like there were any feelings, like feelings that, of course, women that we develop, from spending time or talking to them, we tend to get attached quickly. And just, me doing some self, reflection, I come to understand that I had or have an anxious attachment. That I'm trying to work through as well. So I did find that out, that I was very anxious.
Excellent. To find that out and to deal with that. Even more important then for you in any male-female type of interaction, to make sure that you vet the man by putting him through the paces and showing him initially what category you are in, and that you will not step out of that category. Because having this kind of relationship, when we do have anxious attachment, it pushes all of our buttons in a very deep way.
That makes sense.
And I'm, again, really, really sorry that this happened now in terms of what you're going through at the moment, but I believe that this was relatively a short-term lesson, and you can look at it that you had this lover to go through COVID with, in a way, and now it is time for you to be free, to be pursuing a relationship for which you are worthy, and be treated as the valuable, wonderful woman you are in all ways.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. And I guess it begs the question, how are you meeting people? Are you doing that actively? Are you online dating? What are you doing in that realm, or has it just been Jamie?
It's just been Jamie, and I from being married, when you used to being just with one person, I I carried this on when I met him because he was the first person I met after being separated, and I just closed off all my options. I'm interested now in online dating. I have my skepticism about online dating, but now I'm trying to learn from this short lesson that I need to be more open and just don't fall, just go with the first person and just cut everything off.
Yes. And, here's the other thing that I think women, when we are at a vulnerable time emotionally, men don't have much intuition, but I believe they have inordinate instincts about